everyone. Today I'd like to discuss the Form 843, Claim for Refund and Request for Abatement. This is the form that is used to request a penalty and interest abatement. Now, what is an abatement, you ask? An abatement is a reduction or the elimination of the penalties and interest. And again, the Form 843 is the form that the IRS requests that a taxpayer complete when they are requesting a penalty and interest abatement. Now, this form is not just for anyone to use, and you can't use this form just to try to get out of paying penalties and interest on your tax debt that you've not paid just because you've not paid it. In order to request a penalty and interest abatement, you have to have quote unquote reasonable cause. And as with everything else, the IRS looks at these situations on a case by case basis. An example of reasonable cause would be if you received erroneous information from an IRS tax agent, or you received erroneous information from your tax professional that caused you to have a tax debt that you were not able to pay and penalties and interest accrued on that. Those are some examples of reasonable cause. Examples of what is not considered a reasonable cause is the simple fact of saying, I didn't know, or I just didn't get around to it, or, I had no idea. So those, those excuses will not fly with the IRS. So if you're going to request a penalty and interest abatement, do make sure that you have a pretty good reason. Otherwise, it's going to be denied. Now, the Form 843 is a one-page form. In my opinion, it's not difficult to complete. You can complete it yourself, but if you're not sure of some of the information that's requested on the form, you may want to seek the help of a reputable qualified tax professional to assist you with the form. Now, granted, none of the services that the IRS offers is there a fee for, other than like maybe an application fee or something like that. But for the Form 843, there is not a fee to submit a penalty and interest abatement request. And again, if you feel comfortable enough, you can complete it yourself. Now, the main part of the Form 843 that you probably want to be concerned about is line item number 7, because that is where you would explain why you think the abatement should be approved, and you have to provide other detailed information as well. So again, the Form 843 is used when you want to request penalty and interest abatement, when you think that penalties and interest have been unfairly charged to you. Again, erroneous information has been provided to you. You can go ahead and submit this form. Now, there is a certain time period that you have to submit this form. So for more information on that, you can go to the IRS website at www.irs.gov to get more information, more detailed information on the Form 843. And you may also want to refer to the instructions for the Form 843, which will give you line by line instructions as to how to complete the form. Again, this will help individuals who have tax debt who shouldn't have had that tax debt to begin with, and penalties and interest has accrued against that tax debt. Submitting the Form 843 is an option to try to get some of those penalties, if not all of them, reduced or eliminated. So, again, this is not a form that you would use just to try to get out of paying penalties and interest simply because you did not file your tax returns or you did not pay your tax debt. There definitely has to be reasonable cause for this. Now, the Form 843 is also used for other matters. So when you're submitting the form for the purpose of requesting a penalty and interest abatement, you do have to write across the top of the form that you are requesting a penalty abatement under a certain IRC code number. And you can find that number on the IRS. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 6404, but I'm not certain. Again, you can find out exactly what that reference number is that you need to write across the top of the form on the instructions for the Form 843. Another thing you might want to know about the 843 is that you need to submit a different 843 for each tax year that you're requesting an abatement for the penalties and interest for. So if you have 3 years of tax debt that you'd like to request an abatement for, you will have to submit 3 different Form 843s. So this about covers it for the Form 843 in regards to the penalties and interest abatement. Again, you can find out more detailed information on this form by referencing the instructions or going to the IRS website. You can also visit my website, www.audiotaxhelp.com. That's www.audiotaxhelp.com. AUDIOTAXHELP.com. There is an MP3 audio that you can purchase that explains more detailed information about the Form 843, and you can find other information on my website that may be helpful to you. When you go to the website, just click on tax-related services or tax products and take a look to see if there's anything, any services or products that we offer that can possibly help to make your life a little less taxing.